My name is Warren Queton. I'm the District 7 legislator for the Kiowa legislature. The primary responsibilities of a Kiowa legislator are to monitor all the actions of the Kiowa government. I pass bills, resolutions, and laws that affect the overall governance of our people, and I approve our annual budget. I do a lot of meetings. I do a lot of phone calls and Zoom meetings because I represent a district that includes the at-large citizens, meaning my citizens don't live in the reservation. They live all over the United States and worldwide. How do I communicate with those citizens? How do I assess their needs on how they're going to receive benefits from the tribe is often a difficult task. So I do a lot of online meetings. I do a lot of work sessions within the Kiowa legislature on writing laws and what is the business of the legislature. So tribal governments are now structured just like the United States government. We have systems and branches that oversee the governance of our tribe, meaning that there's a systems of accountability, separation of powers, and then a way to ensure that those balances have a check and balance system. Some tribes differ. Some tribes have a 3-branch form of government. Some tribes have a 4-branch type of government. There's even some tribes that have 1 branch operating in kind of a corporation business style committee. Our tribes were formulated through traditional governments. Our citizens make up who we are. We can't have a tribe, just like you can't have a country without its citizens, right? And collectively, we all share common values, principles. We share a language, a religion. That's what binds us together. So tribes here in the United States, they operated under a traditional form of government. For tribes in the Southeast, they operated in townships. Cherokee Nation had townships all over Southeast, through South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and they set up trade amongst those townships. Traditional forms of government, such as Kiowas, operated under a band system, meaning there were 7 bands that operated independently most of the year till we had our Sundance. Then they reconvened, and that's where a lot of the government decisions were made. For example, which band is going to go to what hunting territory. And then you had other nations that were set up in a clan type system, that they lived in a certain region for a long period of time, but their clans are based on where they come from. So though there are traditional forms of government that are still practiced to this day. So our sovereignty comes from a few facets. Sovereignty is established on the fact that tribal people already had a form of government, a traditional form of government. We already had people with a shared religion, shared language, shared worldview. We already had land being our traditional territories that we come from. So those are the 3 facets that I focus in on when I'm talking about tribal sovereignty. Tribal sovereignty means that we are on the same level as a state government. The federal government made treaties with our tribes in order to access and even retain land from tribes. For example, if they went into an area and they wanted the land, they said, we want this land, we're claiming it on behalf of the United States. We have a treaty to set what lands are yours and where can your people live and what are we going to pay you, or what benefits are we going to give your people in exchange for the land. So our sovereignty wasn't based on those treaties, but it was based on the idea that we already had a form of government, we already had land, and we already had people that were collectively living as a tribe. So the federal government recognizes our sovereignty through treaties, but does not establish our sovereignty. So when they recognize it through treaties, that means we are on the same level as a state government. And now tribes operate as states within a state, because we're in the United States of America. The most enjoyable part of my job is seeing our youth relearn or revitalize how they learn their identity. Our tribe has never had a language program until I wrote the law to establish a language program. to see our children learn our language and now learn our worldview through language, we are relearning those values and cultural traits that are important to our identity. Because that means that there's going to be a future. They're going to sing our songs. They're going to dance our dances. They're going to speak our language. At the state level, my tribe has had programming that we were working with different public schools to teach about our tribe, the history, but also have an identity within those schools where our students attend. A lot of our students may be learning their own language at that school, or maybe learning their history, culture. A lot of those programs, a lot of the funding was pooled, so a lot of the teachers that were teaching language or teaching culture, a lot of those tribal employees have been let go by the public schools because there's no money to pay them. So our tribe has been impacted because we now have to switch our budget to if we want to collaborate with public schools, we must pay the teachers. It doesn't come from a grant or any kind of funding agency. The tribe must step up and pay the teachers for that work if we want to maintain and help our students learn who they are as Native people. That's one example, but my tribe at the federal level, we're starting to see a lot of decisions that impact our own funding for our tribe. Example, LIHEAP. A lot of our tribal members, because they live in a highly impoverished area here in Oklahoma, have a hard time paying just their regular everyday bills, like heating, lighting, and air. A lot of those we have federal programs that come through the Bureau of Indian Affairs that assist our tribal people with meeting those needs. That's basic living in your house, keeping your lights on, heat and air when it's summer and when it's winter. That funding is going to be pooled according to the current decision being made, which means that it impacts our tribal people at home, meaning that our students may be in a home where they can't pay the light bill, and they're living in a home that has no heat or no air, or they have to relinquish their current residency and live with a large extended family, live with their grandparents, live with a house that might have 10 people living in it, trying to survive. So when you pull that funding, it really puts a large burden on the tribe to make up that budget and figure out ways to meet the basic needs of citizens. Our organization is setting up a Kiowa Inc., a business, an incorporated business within the tribe to bring businesses into the tribe. Right now, our tribe only has one enterprise, and that's for our Kiowa Casino. That entity makes money, but we're looking at bringing in more funding, making funding available through our own tribal budget so that businesses can apply for small business loans through the tribe. And if there's a corporation that wants to register, they do that through the tribe too, and we encourage them to, and that kind of qualifies them for certain grants through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Department of Labor, because these businesses are going to be within our own home community, meeting the needs of our tribal citizens. What businesses are we looking at? We live in a rural community. We're looking at cattle, farming, grazing, buffalo. We're looking at, what businesses can we bring to the area that's going to create jobs and bring revenue back into our tribal areas. I think you need to plan your career and get expertise in community planning and organizing. Because a lot of that work comes from how do you read and assess what the needs of the community are. How do you collect the data that are going to drive your decisions? Because a lot of our decisions now as tribes is based on data, survey work, asking the people what their needs are. You can never over-communicate in a tribe. You need to be having all these communications on how we're going to fix problems. How do we build trust within our community? That's something you can't be taught. You got to figure that out for yourself through your own leadership training, and experience comes with that. Some skills like that I think a person needs to have within our tribal community is an understanding of our tribal values, what makes our identity, and really an understanding of their relationship to land and ceremony.